Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from the heart of Europe. I hope everybody has had a good week so far. Hi Dhruv, hi Kawal, hi Kushi, Sandeep, hi An, nice to see students in the class. Hi Abhishek, welcome members. In this class, students, we are focusing on task 1 writing, specifically looking at a combination graph. And of course, our materials are presented to you by aehelp.com for academic English and IELTS success. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have loads and loads of materials for you. Now, this class is specifically for academic IELTS. For general IELTS, you can also always check out our General IELTS YouTube channel. It's called General IELTS Help, and you will find some Task 1 videos and examples there. For lots of materials, visit our websites. This is aehelp.com. You can click that big red button to join the premium package and get access to all of our materials. And you can use this code to get a 20% discount today, R4TYJ. That'll give you a 20% discount on the premium package. And for the general IELTS, you can use that same code here on this website with the green background, same layout, gieltshelp.com. Students, we do have apps, of course, and our apps link to our websites. For academic IELTS, aehelp.com, you can link the app Academic IELTS Help. For gieltshelp.com, you can link the app General IELTS Help. And if you have questions, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Hi, Catherine Pang. Hi, Aman Jat. Hi, Aditya. Nice to see many more students joining in on this class. So task 1 today, we have more classes for you tomorrow and the day after. Let's start getting more into our task 1 here. Hi, Eugen. Love the emojis. Mentioned the panda bear yesterday's class. All right. So here we go, task 1. You get to the writing section of your exam. You are well into the test. You've finished your listening. You finished your reading. At this point, you take a bit of a breath. You reset yourself, and you remember your strategies. So you open the writing section of the exam, and this is what you see. You always start with task 1. Never start with task 2. Task 1 should be easier. What kind of an essay is task 1? Everybody, anybody, students who are regularly in this class should know the answer to this. Hi, Hardik, Sutaria. What kind of essay are you writing? What is this category of essay? There are 4 major essay types in literature, in the English language. This is one of them. It's not a report. A report is a type of this. Un says it's an expository essay. Yeah, report is a type of expository essay. It's a subcategory. Okay, so it's an expository essay. And you're partly reporting, but that's not necessarily. So reporting, like journalism, that's more specific. So this is an expository essay. And what's the voice? Okay, so what voice am I using in this essay? Okay, there are 3 voices, first, second, third person voice. What am I using? Not passive voice of beer. I might at some point. And for now, it's just Pegasus the third. Yeah, third person. Yeah, that's right. Third person objective voice of author. That means you do not use I, me, you, us, we. Don't use those kinds of words, okay? Stay in the third person voice, all right? Good. Okay, so let's have a look at this specific question now, okay? If you're not familiar with expository essays in third person voice, definitely research that, find out more about it, you can do that on our websites, or of course, Mother Google will give you a lot of information about that as well. It's basics of literature and writing. Okay, here we go. So you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Definitely only spend that 20 minutes because task 1 is worth 1/3 of your mark. Task 2 is worth 2/3, theoretically. Okay. Now, if you completely bomb task 1, it's virtually impossible to get over a band 6. So you need to do a good job in task 1. Okay, here we go. So the line graph shows the change in the amount of electricity used during a day in 2 seasons. And the pie chart indicates the different uses of electricity. Okay, so something about electricity. We all pay utility bills. We all pay for electricity, so these are common kinds of questions. Describe the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Okay, write at least 150 words. So that means minimum 150 words. So this means you must write minimum 150 words for task completion. Okay, so task 1, task 2, you get graded on what's called task completion. Okay, part of task completion is the word limit. Now, let me give you a hint here. 150 words is minimum for task completion, but it's unlikely that you're going to get full marks at 150 words. Okay, so keep in mind that most, if not all, band 8 and 9, and even 7, to be perfectly honest with you. So band 7, 8, and 9 essays are 20 to 25% over the minimum. Okay, so that means that most of the higher band essays are getting closer to the 180, 90, 200 mark for word count. Okay, keep that in mind. All right. Here's our graph. First of all, our line graph. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's a little bit. Let me see if I can enhance the sharpness here for you. I mean, it is a line graph, so you don't need too much here. Okay, maybe a little bit this way. All right, there we go. I'm trying to make it clear, but don't worry. I'll make it a little bit darker here. Yeah, let's make it like that. Okay. A little bit clearer. I'll explain it anyway. You'll see it. It's not too complex, okay? So this top line, this is winter. And this bottom line is summer. All right? And then here you have the units of electricity. So this is units of electricity. Okay, here, and you have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. It's actually good that I'm rewriting it. Here it just says typical demand for electricity. You probably see that. And then under here, underneath, you have the hours of the day. So you have at 0 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 15 o'clock, 18 o'clock. You'll also hear 1800 hours, 2100 hours, and then midnight, 2400 hours. So that's what that graph looks like. Okay? All right. So that's the first graph. So have a good look at it. I'm not going to redraw it every time. You should be able to kind of get the idea of it. Okay. And then we have another graph. So this is a combination graph. Okay. So here we go with the second graph. Let's take a look at that. This is what the electricity is used for in winter. Let me see if I can. Just going to do a little bit of adjusting here, and maybe I can get it a bit sharper for you. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. All right. And so, make it bigger, a smaller graph. Okay, hopefully you can see it a little bit better now. So this is the pie chart, and this is what the electricity is used for. So you have the pie here, you have a slice at 15%, you have another slice at 15%, you have one at 17.5%, and you have one at 52.5%. Okay, this is heating, rooms and water, not too important. This is ovens, washing machines, okay. This is lighting, TV, radio. Okay. And then this is electric tools. Okay. All right. So that's our second graph there. All right. So we have 4 different categories: heating, rooms and water, ovens, kettles, washing machines, lighting, TV, radio, vacuum cleaners, food mixers, electric tools. Okay, sure. So those are the 4 different categories of using electricity in the winter. Okay, that's important, the title, using electricity in the winter. Okay, all right. So let's do this together. It's really a step-by-step process, and I'm going to show you what is the most common situation for these kinds of combination graphs so you can write them quickly and accurately. The first step, of course, is the overview. Okay, you do not need a separate introduction. The overview is a paraphrase of the question with more detail. And then the second part, okay, it's 2 parts, plus the most observable features. Okay. And it's, in some ways, it's actually kind of good that these graphs aren't 100% clear, because it will force you to give me the correct information for this overview. So try this, everyone. First, paraphrase this question and give it more detail based on what I just showed you in these graphs. So the line graph shows the change in the amount of electricity used during a day in 2 seasons, and the pie chart indicates the different uses of electricity. Describe the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So paraphrase this, give it more detail. Okay, there's the line graph again. Do it kind of like that. You don't really need to see too much details here. And I think it's clear enough, I think, now for everyone. I can see it in my feedback screen. Okay, so let's see what you come up with. And I'm going to write as well, of course, and then we'll match up and see if we're on the same page. So Abhay says the given 2 figures depict the utilization of electricity for different kinds of purposes, as well as the amount of use of electricity in winter and summer seasons in a day. Okay. Abhay, that's okay. Abhay, you should keep the order the same. So my first tip is, in your writing, always keep the order the same as the order of the graphs, top down. Okay, here we have the line graph first, and then you have the pie chart. So Abhay, you should always write about the line graph first and then the pie chart. So don't write about the different reasons first and then the winter, summer seasons of the day, but write about the winter, summer's day seasons first and then the pie charts, starting from the overview and continuing in the analysis. Okay, so this is my first tip. Keep this in mind, students, that I don't want to say always, but it should be always, and in most cases, in every IELTS example that I've seen, the first graph is more general information, and the second graph is more detailed information. So this is a very important tip. Okay, very, very important. Triple exclamation mark for these combination graphs. Okay, in most cases, the first graph, you can say the top one, okay, is more general information, and the second graph or chart is more specific or detailed information, the bottom one. Let's put that back here. So the second graph, in this case the pie chart, is more detailed information. In connection to the first one, especially when they are different graphs, like pie chart followed by tables, or in this case, line graph followed by pie chart. Okay, so this means keep your writing in the same order as the graphs for the overview and the body and the summary. Okay? Is that clear? Is everybody clear on the importance of understanding that the first graph is more general information, the second one is more specific in connection to that, and you want to keep the same order? Okay, it's very important. All right, hopefully that's clear for everyone. All right. Ann says, yes, clear. Yeah, and when you look at most of these examples, you'll see that. Okay. LePay says the line graph presents the variation of electricity consumed in a day in the summer versus a day in the winter. As well, a pie chart depicts the distribution of electricity used by various appliances or applications. Used in various applications, LePay. Used in various applications. Ois says the given graph explains the change in the quantity of power in summer throughout a 24-hour period, and the second explains the percentage of power consumed in winter as heating and lights and vacuum. Yeah, the first one also shows winter, Ois, so careful not to miss information, but you're on the right track. Okay. Rashika says the given line graph describes electricity consumption both in winter and summer. The pie chart depicts the amount of electricity relating to 4 different usages in a household. Jawan, try to use English in an English lesson. Okay? All right. Looking good so far, students. So, yeah, you want to, when you're giving your overview, you want to include the kind of measures on the y-axis, on the x-axis, the information in the legend. So that's your summary. Here we have 4 different categories in the legend. Okay, so that's what we want to include in our overview. And if you can't do that in 1 sentence, that's okay. Do it in 2. So the line graph depicts the... Let me make sure I'm using different words here. Depicts the movement of power consumption throughout a 24-hour period with intervals of 3 hours in both winter and summer seasons. The pie chart delineates the distribution of electrical or of electricity usage in winter into 4 specified categories. Okay, so all I did here is I used the information from the axes, the y and the x-axes. I used the information from the legends to create more detail. And I'm paraphrasing. So I'm taking the words from the question and I'm using synonyms, antonym negatives, different descriptors to paraphrase as much as possible. So the line graph depicts the movement of power consumption throughout a 24-hour period with intervals of 3 hours in both winter and summer seasons. Now, if I want to give more information here, I can say from 0 to 50,000 units. Okay. So as I reviewed that, I realized that, hey, wait a second, I didn't mention the y-axis. And here the y-axis is 0 to 50,000 units. And I can even go more detailed and say with intervals of 10,000 units, okay? Intervals means 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, where the difference between measures is equal. And here we have equal 10,000 unit measure differences. For those of you going into computer science, engineering, psychology, statistics, learning these words is very, very useful. So here you have intervals of 3, 3, 3 to 6, 3, 6 to 9, 3, 9 to 12, 3, 12 to 15, 3, 15 to 18, and so on to 24. Okay? And here you have 4 categories that give us specific information. Okay? Everybody's clear on that, hopefully. Okay? All right, everybody good on how I added those details with looking at the axes, looking at the legend for the overview, because that's how I'm overviewing this. Okay? All right? Yeah, everybody's good. Amanjot says it's clear. Fantastic. Okay. Nice. Great. Okay, so now we're looking for the main features. Okay. So what's the main feature? When we look at the line graph, what do we notice right away? There's something very, very clear here. What would be the main feature? An says, at first sight, it is clear that electrical power is used more in wintertime than summertime, and in winter, heating is the greatest motive when it comes to electrical consumption. Okay, An, I think that will work. Okay. Ferdov says, overall, it is clear that electricity is used twice less. Go for the opposite of Ferdov's. Go for twice as much. Okay, so overall, it is clear that electricity is used twice as much in the winter than in the summer, and more than half of the electricity power is utilized for heating rooms in winter. Yeah, Ferdov's good. You're recognizing kind of the main chunks there. Very good. Okay. Excellent. That's exactly what you should be observing at first sight. So Fennel says, most of the electricity is consumed for heating. However, winter energy consumption at night is maximum. Fennel, too much detail, and you should be talking about the line graph first and then the pie chart, as I mentioned earlier in your overview, in your main feature, in your analyses. Okay. David says it's evident that both lines follow similar trends. Winter is greater, though. I don't think the trends are quite the same. We have a dip here. We have an increased dip here. We have an increased dip here. We have an slight increase to a peak here. And then we have a very rapid decline. We have a slight decline here. So, yeah, I think, David, there's some similarity, but I don't think they're quite the same. I don't think that's a main feature. So careful with that. Here we see summer peaking out at 20,000 units, right? 20,000 unit peak, 20,000 unit peak. We see that at first glance. Here we see winter kind of touching 40,000 in 2 points here, and then even going above. So it appears that winter in most cases is at least double that of summer for energy consumption. That's definitely one of the main features, okay? And then, as many of you correctly stated, in the pie chart, so if we look at the pie chart, we have 3 slices that are fairly equal. Okay, so this slice, this slice, this slice look about the same. And then we have this gigantic slice here that's really dominant. That's what I'm getting just by looking at this, without really looking at the percentages, just looking at the main pictorial features. Okay, that's really what you're looking at here, these pictorial features. You shouldn't be going into details for your main features for the overview. Okay, so the overview is as follows for the main features. At first glance, it is clear that winter usage of electricity on average is at least double that of summer. Furthermore, in winter, 3 categories have similar levels of electrical application, while the 4th is you can even throw in the word heating, is dominant. Okay, all right. So that would be my main feature analysis, okay? And then I can go into more details here. Now, clearly, these 2 graphs together are focusing more on winter than summer, okay? So the second graph, the pie chart, is specifically focusing on winter, okay? The first graph is 50% focusing on winter, 50% focusing on summer. So I have to recognize that, and it's good to do that because then I know that I have to focus my words more on the concept of winter than summer. Okay, it's very important. Is everybody okay so far? Is everybody following me? Okay, Jawan, please don't spam with emojis. Just going to time you out there for a bit so you realize what I'm talking about. And then when you come back, please focus on the lesson. Okay? All right, so everybody's following me so far. If you're not, don't worry. You can go back and revisit this lesson later again. Okay? Singh says, hi. David says, sure. Nikhil, Ferdavs, Machtaba, Fennel, Lepay are on board. Huye Lee says, yep. Hardik's good. Amanjat's on board. All right, good. Okay, so now we go into analysis. And when you have 20 minutes, 180 words, 2 graphs, you can't report every little detail, okay? So you have to be pretty careful here, all right? Okay, so what should I report? What should I report? How should I start this? Okay, can anybody tell me what would be my first point of analysis? What would make logical sense? If I'm thinking ahead, if I'm predicting this, what should I report? While you're telling me that, I'll redraw this. Some of you are saying it's a little bit light, so it's okay. Okay, this is winter. This is summer. Okay. 0 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, 18 hours, 21 hours, 24 hours. And this is 0, 10,000 units, 20,000 units of electricity, 30,000 units of electricity, 40,000 units of electricity. So what should be my first point here? Okay, so Shub Sharat says, start from summer. Okay? Yeah, Shub Sharat, I agree with you. I think starting from summer is a good idea. Okay? Why would I start from summer? So Shub Sharat saying, let's start with summer. First, let's start from here. This should be my first point of analysis. Okay? I'm not going to go into like all of this description here because that's useless. It's really fluctuating between 15,000 and 20,000. Okay? So is the fluctuation, and I have two peaks. I have a peak at 1,500 hours, so 1B at 1,500 hours, and then I have another peak at 2,400 hours. This would be 1C. Okay, 1B meaning my first point B. This is my first point C. This second peak. Okay, and that's at 20,000. Okay. So at most of the day, it's at 15,000, and then it peaks at 1,500 hours or at 3 o'clock, 3 p.m., and at midnight in the summertime, right? Lovejeet, thanks so much for your super chat donation. I see that. Lovejeet. So Lovejeet's asking a little bit of an off-topic question, but I will address that, especially since you're kind enough to sponsor us. So Lovejeet, if you have a speech disorder, you need to get proof of your speech disorder from a speech specialist or your doctor. And when you apply for your IELTS exam, there's a special place to indicate any kind of learning disability or speaking disability or dyslexia, like stammering or stuttering. And as long as you have a professional who is able to give you proof that you have that, you can't just say, I have this, help me, then they will give you extra time. They will consider that when they're marking you for your pronunciation and for your fluency. So, but you need a professional's proof, okay? So from a speech therapist or from a doctor or some psychologist or something like that, okay? All right? And thank you for that donation. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, but you need to do that beforehand when you apply. Okay, if it's not clear, send me a message. Okay, so Hashi, I'm Canadian, West Coast, Victoria. Okay, so this would be my first point. Now, my second point would obviously be winter. Now, winter is a little bit more detailed. So winter, I would start here with a line. Okay, so that would be my 2. I would definitely mention this low point somewhere around 9 a.m. Okay, then this increase here and this peak at nearly 50,000 at 21 o'clock. So that would be my 2C, and then this decline here would be my 2D. So these would be my points. Students, before you begin writing your analysis for your line graphs or whatever chart you're looking at, always check your points. Why am I talking first about summer? So as a couple of students correctly suggested, starting with summer is a good idea. Okay? Omniscient, never add your own ideas, okay? You shouldn't do that. Shub Sharat, we shouldn't start with summer because it has less fluctuations. Why should we start with summer? Why is that the best strategy here? I really want somebody to tell me that before I give you the answer. It's not because there's less fluctuations. That's not the most logical reason. Malika, it's not what you prefer, it's what makes most sense. Okay, why does it make most sense to start with summer? Think a little bit ahead in your essay. Always try to conceptualize. Yeah, Nick Hill, very good. So Nick Hill says it's because the line graph has just summer. Okay, so remember that the next graph, as we know by now, has to do with winter. Okay, so what I want, just going to erase this. We'll write that in a second or in a moment. So what I want for my essay's structure, because you're being marked on this coherence and task completion and so on, so the overall quality. So what I want is summer line graph in the essay, followed by winter line graph, okay, followed by winter pie chart. So it makes more sense than if I have this up here and it goes winter, summer, winter. Okay, think about your reader. Yeah, Wang Junji, absolutely, it makes more sense. Okay, does that make more sense now, right? So it's better to go summer, winter, winter, or summer, winter, details of winter, than to go winter, summer, details of winter. Okay? Yeah. And the simplicity of summer, of course, adds to that, for sure. Okay, so let's do this. So let's write about summer. So we get into our analysis now. Write about summer. I'm going to do the same. We've got to move along right now a little bit so we can get into this essay more. Okay, so we're writing the analysis. Okay. So in the analysis, first we write about summer and what's happening here. Okay, remember this is 0 o'clock, 15 o'clock, 24 o'clock, 20,000 units, and roughly in the middle here, it's about 15,000 units. Okay? All right. So this is your main body paragraph, and it's your analyses for plural. Okay? All right. So that's my summer. Well, that's all it is for summer. Okay. Let's see if anybody has something similar. Okay. Amanjat says, looking at more details, the usage of power was 15,000 during the hot weather, during the warmer summer months. Okay, stay in summer, Amanjat. We don't want to say warm weather because in India and southern part of the world, you have hot weather at different times of the year, right? David says, looking at the graph in more detail, comma, David, it is evident that from summer the consumption of energy flattened out during the first 15 hours at around 17,000 units. Good, David. Keep going from there. It's a good start. Okay, it's a good start. Right? All right. Ferdov says, analyzing deeper, it can be seen that electricity is consumed about 18,000 units at 12 o'clock at night, and then its demand decreases until 9 a.m. Okay. All right. This is what I have. So I kept it fairly simple. Looking at the line graph in detail, the average daily usage of summertime electricity hovers mostly at 15,000 units. If I want to be even more accurate, I can say mostly around. Okay, hovers means it stays kind of close to that line. Okay, so hovers mostly around 15,000 units with two spikes in the day reaching 20,000 units, one at 15 o'clock and the other at midnight. So all I've done here is described this line, which hovers close to this 15,000 unit line with two spikes, 1, 2, one at 15 o'clock, well, roughly 15 o'clock, let's say, and the other one at 24 o'clock. IELTS is not going to be so specific to say, well, that's more like 14 o'clock. They don't care about that. Okay? All right. Hassan says that it is evident that during the summer season, the electricity usage remains between 20 and 15,000 and it peaks at 3 p.m. and midnight. Hassan, perfect. Okay? Ankit, let me know what your doubt is. If I catch it in the chat, I'll let you know. Okay? Kawal says, commencing with summer, electrical usage shows an average of 15,000 units of electricity with two peak hours reaching 20,000 units, 1,500 hours, and midnight. You don't need first and second because that's clear from the information. Okay. So winter, here we go. Winter has greater movement or greater change throughout the day than summer. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that right away, and I'm going to give these specific numbers as well. Okay, fluctuating between 30,000 all the way up to almost 50,000, right? So in contrast, winter use of electricity fluctuates more between 30,000 and nearly 50,000 units throughout the day. Okay, that's it. So just saying, you know, it moves between 30,000 and almost 50,000. Okay, so now I can get into the actual pattern itself. So at 3 o'clock, it's 40,000, decreases to 30,000 between 6 and 9, and then increases, peaking at 2,100 hours at nearly 50,000. Okay, so that's what I want to do. Okay, that's what I want to describe. So not too much detail, but enough that you're giving a good interpretation of the graph. So at 3 a.m., 40,000 units of power are used, which then decreases to 30,000 units over the next 6 hours, and then climbs back up to nearly 50,000 units by 9 p.m. Okay, after which time it rapidly decreases until midnight. This is for the Band 9 students, okay? You can definitely get a high band even if you don't add that little tidbit there, all right? Now, I see some good writing coming up. That's fantastic. Onur says, electric consumption in winter surges between 30 and nearly 50,000 units of electricity. In the day, it has two peak points, at 3 a.m. and nearly 50,000 units at 9 p.m., okay, with 40 and 50,000 units respectively, okay, 40 and 50,000 units respectively, okay. All right, now some students might choose to do a new paragraph here. That's okay. I think if you join the two paragraphs together, that's okay too. You're not going to lose marks on that, okay. So interpreting the winter usage of electricity further, just over half of all power, 52.5%, is used to heat water and rooms. Okay, so now I'm going into my pie chart. Notice that transition now, it's very smooth, winter to winter. Okay, interpreting the winter usage of electricity further. Just over half of all power. Descriptive clause, comma, 52.5% is used to heat water and rooms. Okay, that's this pie chart here. And I'm talking about this big blue element here. That's 52.2% heating rooms and water. Now, I have 15% for vacuum cleaners, mixers, electrical tools, and another 15% for lighting, TV, and radio, making up a third of this pie with equal amounts of power used for these. Okay? Vacuum cleaners, food mixers, electrical tools, and then the other one is ovens, kettles, washing machines. What are these? So what is an oven, a kettle, a washing machine? Okay. What is a vacuum cleaner, food mixer, electrical tool? So ovens, kettles, washing machines, it kind of sounds like we're talking about larger appliances, and we're talking about appliances that use electricity to heat, to generate heat. Okay? Here, vacuum cleaners, food mixers, electrical tools are more the smaller appliances that are not used for generating heat. Okay? All right? So keep that in mind. Larger appliances, smaller appliances. Okay? So smaller appliances, lighting, TV, radio, use about the same percentage of power in winter months. Okay? Making up roughly a third of the total. All right? So okay, so there we go. Interpreting the winter usage of electricity further, just over half of all power, 52.5%, is used to heat water and rooms. Smaller appliances like vacuum cleaners and electrical tools and lights and TV radio use the same proportion of electricity that together make up roughly a third of the total. The remaining 17.5% of power during winter is dedicated to larger appliances such as washing machines and ovens, which generate heat. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Shubsharat has a question. Should there be more usage in summer than winter because we hardly use ACs and refrigerators? Shubsharat, it doesn't tell us where this is. It could be London. It could be New York. It's probably a colder part of the world. I would doubt that this is the data for Adelaide, Australia, or for New Delhi, or for any of the warmer parts of the world. Okay? All right. So, what can we summarize about this? We should have a bit of a summary here. Now, your summary should not be a conclusion. You're not giving an opinion, okay? So, not an opinion, just a simple fact that we learn by looking at the data. And it's not a repeat of the overview or analysis. Okay, so what can we summarize here? All right, when we've looked at all of this information in the line graph and in the pie chart, and we combine all of this information and put it all together, we've interpreted, we've understood this information now. What can we understand from this? Banu, I'm giving you a band 9 here, and a band 9 is going to be closer to 200 words for sure. Okay? I don't think it's quite 240 just yet. Okay? But band 9 essays are going to be definitely well over the 150 minimum. So Nigam An says, to sum up, people use electricity for various reasons during different seasons. Okay, kind of on the right track. Try to word that better. Hassan says, in summary, a typical household uses most electricity for facilities to function during the day. Okay, Hassan, try to get winter, summer. Hardik says, all in all, more units of electricity are used during the winter rather than summer, as well as over half of the proportion is used for heating. Okay. Nick Hill says, in summary, power consumption is more in the winter than in summer. Okay. I would write something like this. In summary, okay, how about that? So I'm not really adding my own information here, but this is something we can get from the data. Let's see if Kem has that. The most of energy consumption by people in the cold season with major contribution to heating and water. Yeah, you're on the right track, Kemzone. Just a little bit better wording here, but you're very similar to mine. So in summary, it can be inferred, learn this expression, it can be inferred from looking at the line graph and pie chart that a large portion of the increased power consumption during the winter months results from heating rooms and water. Can we all agree on that? That it's not too far for the imagination or from the information in the data here that that's what's resulting? I mean, we had somebody say that, wouldn't it be higher in the summer because of AC? Yeah, that's because you're probably living in a part of the world where it's very hot, right? So you can't include your own opinion, but this isn't really an opinion. The data is there, okay? All right? And Amanjad, it's not a conclusion, it's a summary. We're simply making an inference here. An inference here means an educated summary of what we see. Okay? All right, everyone. So that is the graph. I think if I remove all of my instructional information, I have roughly 210 words here. I could probably shorten this a little bit, but again, for a Band 9 essay, you're going to be much closer to this number than 150. Okay, 150 is the minimum for task completion, right? So this is a Band 9. If you don't have all of this information, you can still get a very good band. Just have most of this connection and this structure. As long as you have this structure and you have the overall content of this essay, you will still get a band 7.5 and 8. For lots more students, help with the IELTS, for many more videos with me, with other students, with instructors, visit our websites. Join our premium package at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Use the code R4TYJ when you're checking out. Apply the code, okay, R4TYJ. It will give you a 20% discount. You won't regret it. We basically, so anytime students use our products for a month, 2 months before their exam, they always say they got a better score. So try it out. You're very welcome, everyone. Good job, Hassan. Good job, Juan. Thank you for being with me. I will be back tomorrow with more for reading and for speaking. So come back and join me tomorrow. If it's late in your country, sweet dreams. If your day's just starting, do it proud. Do it with lots of energy, and stay safe. I'm Adrian, signing out from Europe for now. Much love to all of you. Bye.